simmering has to take place because we've got a rather tough piece of chicken. It's got to get tender. It's going to take a little while. And we might set the chicken aside and cook the liquid at a little higher rate in order to reduce it and so forth. So little techniques in combination here. We call this combo technique, and it's braising, right, essentially. Braising is pretty much almost always done the same way. If it's any kind of beef or poultry item, you're always going to start off with some kind of browning by sauté. You're always going to wind up deglazing with some wine appropriate to the kind of stuff you're cooking. And a lot of times you may reduce that wine a little bit in order to concentrate its good flavors and kind of lose some of its more powerful alcohol smell and its acid that's not always so pleasant and so forth, especially with cheaper wines. Actually, in terms of wine, you probably see more dishes screwed up because of not handling the wine right than you do because of not using nice wine. I'm not saying using a great bottle of wine to cook with isn't going to maybe give you a little bit of an edge, but you can make a damn fine dish with some cheap wine, and you can take a $40 bottle of wine or a $100 bottle of wine and turn it into a really nasty dish if you just didn't work with the wine right. So for me, it's more about how the wine is handled than what kind of wine you're cooking with. Unless we get down into that stuff that has a little screw cap and it says cooking wine, then all bets are off. I don't think that makes you a better cook at all. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to season this chicken. Salt and black pepper. I get to use black pepper today because I'm making something with a brown sauce. I like a fair amount of black pepper in these assertive, strongly flavored sauces like this. Some places you can't really get away with black pepper. According to some cooks, white pepper is necessary where you have white sauces. That's the very French thing. A lot of American cooks say, what did Chef David say about white pepper a while ago, the flavor of it? Did he say anything about it? A lot of us don't really like the flavor of white pepper that much, so where we can get away with it, we sometimes use black even if the texture says white. I'm going to flip my drumsticks over and my thighs over and get seasonings on the other side as well. I'll keep one hand in the seasonings that's clean, and one hand on the chicken that's not so clean. If there was any risk at all that I got my raw chicken fingers in my black pepper, I want to be careful not to keep that black pepper around where it might get involved in a salad or something else not cooked, right? I don't want any raw chicken schmutz in my raw food. All right, so that's nice. I'm all happy with that.
Does the coarseness of the pepper affect the cooking?
Oh, it does matter. I mean, I had a restaurant operator chew me out one time because I was into the kind of coarse black pepper. I like that big pepper hit, and I like that smell that you can get when you bite it. And he said that the blue-haired ladies were unhappy with the food because of all that black pepper. So it matters, and for refined cooking, we probably tend to grind it a little finer. But almost all good cooks probably agree that the more freshly ground the pepper can be, the better off, better your food's going to be. I'm going to get some clarified butter in a sautoir that's kind of nice and hot here. Get the temperature up nicely because I want a good little action right away when I go to saute. Right? And I'm going to have some flour to dust these chickens in. You can simply work with seasoned flour. I think it's a little less precise. You have to season the flour very, very highly, and then how much of it really stays on the food and so forth. So for me, it's a little smarter to season the chicken directly and then just don't worry about seasoning the flour. But that's a cook's choice thing, isn't it?
Do you have to use clarified butter?
Well, I think for something like this where I want a good level of heat to do my saute and clarified. I don't know what that. Well, I don't know. For something that needs a good level of heat, I want clarified butter because clarified butter takes heat, right? I feel like I missed something really great just now.
One of those moments of genius. Inappropriate behavior.
So, inappropriate behavior, Jeff, out of you?
No.
And I'm supposed to be surprised?
I wouldn't be. Never said anything about being surprised.
All right, so I've got a sautoir here which has those straight sides. It's a heavy one, which is nice because it makes, even if I cook hot, it keeps the heat fairly nice and even, right? I want action right away, like this. Spread these chicken pieces out in there. I'm going to try to shake that flour off fairly well as I go. And I don't want them too crowded. I recognize they'll shrink and make some space, but I don't want to have them too very crowded in there. Why do I not want to have things too crowded in my saute stage?
It gets cold.
It gets cold, and it traps steam as well, and steam trapped in there does not really help browning, right? So I'm going to use all the heat I got, and I do feel like I'm on the edge of how much I can crowd this. I don't want to crowd too much. And I want to put it in there and get this raw chicken smooth stuff out of my way, get my hands clean, and I want to leave it the hell alone. I just want to leave it alone. I might get bored, like the kid at the hamburger place keeps on pressing and squeezing a nice juice out of the hamburger. But I'm going to just try to be really good and not mess with it while it's trying to get going. Maybe I shake it once or twice. Maybe I lift a piece of the chicken so the butter can get refreshed underneath. But I don't go pushing around on it, turning it over, things like that. Leave it alone. Clean up my hands.
Smells like breakfast.
Once I got that raw chicken here, I'm going to get my hands clean and come back with a paper towel to shut off the sink so I don't put raw chicken on my hands and my other products. Okay, good.
Chef, you were talking about like mishandling of wine. Like how can you explain
For
that?
me, it's about reduction. If you reduce wine well, I'll say that acidic, powerful thing goes out of it, and enough alcohol goes out of it, it becomes very nice and even. If you reduce wine by half or less than half, I think you have more powerful, kind of less mature flavors.
Okay, so it just take it down a lot.
For me, I say take it, and I even see books, recipes in the French book where they say reduce by half. And my experience tells me that I always feel better when I reduce that wine a long way, take it way down. I'm going to replace the liquid loss. I'm going to get mellower, better, bigger wine flavor this way. Yeah.
Over the break, I had a chance to eat a wagyu ribeye, and it had a red wine ready.
Yeah.
And you can have one fan because I feel like it takes away from
I can't hear the question. Guys, I can't hear the question.
now. Because you can have a big fan of red wine reductions on steaks, just because it takes away from flavor of the meat.
You can dominate that.
But this one was real light, and it actually, it just added, and it didn't take away at all, but it was very light and